Welcome to the Win Win Evangelism Podcast. I'm Tina Waldrom from Evangelism in Australia. I love helping you and your church feel confident and inspired to share Jesus consistently. Before today's topic, why AI makes the gospel more relevant than ever, with Stephen Driscoll, I want to let you know about our free download that will help you answer the hard questions that people have about faith. And you can download that for free on our website, evangelisminaustralia.com. Well, artificial intelligence is moving from nowhere to everywhere. It's changing the way people work, think, learn, communicate, and even search for meaning and connection. And for many Christians, AI raises big questions. Should we be concerned about it? Can Christians use it wisely? What does it mean to be human in an age where machines can imitate intelligence, creativity, and conversation? And could AI actually create new opportunities for sharing the gospel? Today's guest is Stephen Driscoll, who's the author of the book Made in Our Image, God, Artificial Intelligence and You, and is a key presenter at the upcoming Ideas Convention in Melbourne, Australia. Stephen lives in Canberra and works in university ministry. He's been helping Christians think biblically about AI, identity, humanity, and what it truly means to be made in the image of God. In this conversation, we're going to explore why AI is not just a technology conversation, it's actually becoming a gospel conversation. We talk about human identity, purpose, loneliness, digital culture, evangelism, and why the message of Jesus may become even more relevant in an increasingly artificial world. Welcome to you, Stephen.
Well, thanks for having me on. I think you've just said all of the stuff I wanted to say better than I could say it. So that was a pretty good start.
You've written some wonderful things, and we're drawing a conversation today, in fact, from your book and from a couple of articles that are out and about. Tell us, first of all, Stephen, why the interest in AI?
Because I think it just is so important. It's the next big technological revolution, I think. All sorts of people are trying to put it in a little box and say it's just copy-paste, or it's not really that clever. No, I think it is. I think it is a huge technology that's going to transform heaps of things that I care about, like parenting and kids and family and church and all the other good things you mentioned are going to be impacted.
Yes, amen. And you compare the rise of AI to the spread of plastic. So going from nowhere to everywhere very quickly. And why is AI such a significant cultural moment for Christians to pay attention to?
Yeah, and even, so you compare it to plastic, which was like nowhere in 1920 and then everywhere in 1950. You compare it to that and you think, wow, these technologies come through and they just change so many things. But actually, the comparison undersells AI. AI's, will do in 2 years what plastic did in 40 years. It's the sort of technology that's going to be adopted, I think, possibly faster than any technology we've come across before.
Yes, it's amazing how quickly things are speeding up with every type of technological advancement that I'm living through anyway. One of the most fascinating ideas in your work is that AI may imitate humans, but it isn't human. So what fundamentally, in your ideas, separates a human from artificial intelligence?
Yeah, that's probably one of the big evangelistic questions that you've already named there, that we're going to start to have or create, around the water cooler. Hey, what is a person? Do you think ChatGPT is a person? And if not, what's the difference here, right? If the universe is just matter, if we're materialists, physicalists, atheists, and the universe is just matter, then what's the difference? I mean, it's a brain, a digital brain, and we've got biological brains, but they're all just matter. So aren't I the same as it? So that's the question that I want us to start kind of bringing up, in the taxi ride or at the hairdressers, because I reckon that will get us talking about really important things, like faith in God and all that sort of stuff. It is a really brilliant mimic. It trains on a lot of human data. It reads millions, billions of words that we've written, and it learns to say and do the things that that humans say and do. And it can do it almost flawlessly, and it's getting better and better. But what's the fundamental difference between it and us?
Yeah. So that is the question. And you talk about this and you bring in these two words that I love, refined dust. AI is refined dust. And in comparison to humans, let's talk about that. Unpack that idea and why you explained it that way.
So I'm drawing from the start of Genesis 2, which gives the account of the creation of the first human being ever, Adam. And he's called Adam because he's made out of Adama, which is ground in Hebrews. He's a dirt man. But he's not alive until God's Spirit gets breathed into him. And so I just make the really simple point that human beings are made out of two things, and there's more to us than just the physical. But we are physical, aren't we? And we're made out of the ground. We are dirt people. But the Spirit of God is breathed into Adam, and that makes him come to life. So we are these hybrids. We're spiritual, we're living, we're persons. That's given from God. You can't make that in a factory. But we're also made out of dirt. But AI is just the dirt side, right? It's just refined dirt. It doesn't have spirit. It doesn't have a soul. There's no supernatural side to it. And if you actually think about what God is spirit, but not body. And AI is body. It's physical, but it doesn't have that spirit to us. So for Christians, then that's really helpful as we think about ethics, and we go, okay, let's not put AI in the person category, and let's remember that it is a machine, a very impressive machine, but a machine. That's helpful for Christians. Then the challenge for non-Christians is, what category are you guys putting it in? Because it doesn't seem to fit their categories very well, I would say. Do they want to put it in the person category? Well, there's a few that are doing that. Richard Dawkins, a few weeks ago, said that he thinks Claude, which is one of the AI models, he thinks Claude is conscious. So he thinks it's on its way to being a person. And I find that so odd. So I just think Christians have an answer here that's common sense. And it's sort of, oh yeah, that makes sense. ChatGPT is not a person. Yeah, okay, I get that. And then we explain it on the basis of God's Spirit and the supernatural side of personhood.
Yeah, so that is 100% the defining difference, isn't it? When God breathed his life into the dirt, so to speak, when we became human, that is the defining piece. So could you see yourself working with university students and casually having that discussion around AI? Like, is it a great intersective point right now to be having with non-Christians?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. You get the topics you get, right? You're in 2026, well, you've got AI. So what are you going to do with it? And it may not be the best possible topic, but it is the current topic. It's gonna come up in every second dinner or Christmas lunch or water cooler discussions coming up at the barbers. So what are we going to do with it? Well, let's figure out how to get from that topic onto things that matter. Because there's all sorts of things we could talk about that don't really matter, right? That aren't going to lead to God. So how do we get to God?
You know, I love how you've made that distinction, you know, that refined dust, and making that distinction of God's breath that makes people human. It's just you've made it a bit of a no-brainer for me to actually raise that when you're having the AI discussion. Hey, there is a big difference here. This is the difference from a creation point of view. How have you found that's gone, like, with people when that's been raised?
Yeah, and you can even, I think it actually helps to open the Bible and to show that it's not just your opinion, that you're just saying what you're saying because you're drawing on biblical wisdom. It's there. I think it's chapter 2, verse 6 or 2 verse 7. And it says, you know, that Adam's made out of two things. And you go, this helps me to think about AI. And people then become very impressed by the Bible rather than just your arguments, because you're actually saying this ancient book, which was written so long ago, is helping me to understand AI better than you. We've got a framework, and a lot of people just don't even know what to do. So I think that's great. Yeah, look, I think it's a really helpful conversation, and I've done this a lot of the time. I do it in front of a crowd, so I don't always get to have the follow-up conversations and to see where it goes. But we've done lots of different evangelistic events where you actually use AI to then talk about things that matter more than AI.
Yeah, so good. It's so great having this discussion. Personally, I can't wait to hear what you have to say at the convention, the Ideas Convention coming up. That's going to be very exciting. Just a quick break. A lot of evangelism training is confrontational, makes people feel awkward. We've worked hard to make all of our training the opposite of that, making evangelism something that everyone can be a part of. If you or your church are looking for that type of training, go to evangelisminaustralia.com and look at our training tab for some great options. Now let's get back to it. As AI becomes more intelligent and creative, why do you think people are beginning to wrestle more deeply with questions around identity, meaning, and purpose?
Because I think it is one of the most traumatic shocks in modern history, at least, to our sense of identity, meaning, and purpose, as you say. I mean, AI is coming for all sorts of things we hold dear. It's coming for our employment. I mean, that's a huge part of our identity. It's coming for our sense of superiority, our sense that intelligence and creativity and all these sort of things matter. We define ourselves by what we can do, right? And it's slightly unnerving. I mean, picture this: you study medicine for 10 years, and you get really good at it, and you're the best of the best of the best, and then you do another 10 years, and you become an expert at, I don't know, reading some scan and interpreting the results or something like that, and all of a sudden this machine comes along that's better than you. Now, I'm not saying we're there right now, but maybe we will get to that point soon. And that's happening in so many different careers, the sense that, I could just click a button and I could have something that does what I do, but better. So there's a massive identity shock that's hitting a lot of white collar workers already. We did an event with City Bible Forum where we had several hundred white collar workers, and we asked them, how's it hitting you? And every single one of them in the poll said that it is hitting them. It was just a question of how hard. And a lot of people were saying their work was already being transformed. About a quarter of workers were saying, we're already facing transformation.
Yeah, amazing. It is super confronting, actually, for people. You know, I even had a conversation with someone in the workspace, and I could sense that they were unnerved. Am I going to lose my job? Will you need me to do as many hours of work? Things like that coming up. So, yeah, it's raising a lot of things, and it's a great opportunity for us right now. Let's talk about Christians being able to use conversations more about AI as a bridge into gospel conversations and what it truly means to be made in the image of God. Tell me what you think about that.
Yeah, I guess it's exposing that our culture, in a sense, has drifted into a very bottom-up way of thinking about identity, where, your identity is based on what you can do, what you choose, and then what you do. And you have to establish it. You've got to create your identity in the world. Why are you valuable? Oh, because of this, and so on that I've done. And I'm making my identity bottom up. But we Christians should not drift into that way of thinking, because we have a top-down identity that's just given to Christians, to people on the first page of the Bible. I mean, you literally don't have to flip many pages to get to Genesis 1 and God saying to the man and the woman that he's made, that they are made in his image, and they're given this huge commission to go and rule and subdue and fill the earth. And God doesn't need them to do that. And it's not based on how well they do it, a sort of productivity. No, it's just God wants them to have this role. And so he gives it to them. And that's the most solid kind of identity. And it's the difference between being in a family where you're loved and accepted when you do well, and some of us are from families like that, as opposed to a family where you're just loved and accepted regardless of what you can contribute. And so I guess when you see non-believers at work, on the street, or wherever, sometimes you're seeing people that are desperately trying to establish a sense of purpose. And in a sense, our compassion to them is to try and share with them this sense of identity that can be so solid and that we have and they don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Amen. There'll be people today that are listening to this, Stephen, who still feeling very uncertain or overwhelmed, Christians, by the future of AI. What encouragement would you leave with us as we seek to faithfully follow and share Jesus in this crazy AI world?
Look, there are some false encouragements that people cling on to. Encouragements like, I guess, ignoring or even denying, the significance of AI. Oh, well, it's not really that clever. Or I think in some ways, the older we get, the more resistant we can be to technology. So we just don't want it to exist. There's people that have never logged on to an AI portal because they just don't even want it to be real. But no, it is real, and it is coming. There's always been technological change. Every generation has to struggle with it, and it's not always good. Some technologies, are brutal for the world. But again, we have something that other people just don't have, and we forget that we have this. We know that the end is good, and therefore we know that if it's not good, it's not the end. Think of Daniel and all the technological change in the book of Daniel and kingdoms rising and falling and made of different metals and materials. But he was told that the kingdom of heaven was coming, and that allowed him to be resilient in the face of really tough circumstances. So that's not the answer people want to hear, that we know it's good in the end. Well, we want it to be good in 2028. But no, I can't guarantee that it will be good in 2028. But we know that God's good and he's sovereign.
Yeah, it's a great answer. Had someone the other week on the show talking about, well, AI, it's here and it's not going away and God's not surprised. And so that was helpful. Well, this has been a wonderful discussion today. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And I hope as the listener that you feeling a little challenged and maybe got some ideas that you didn't have. I want to encourage you to read Stephen's book, Made in Our Image, God, Artificial Intelligence and You. And I will drop the links in our show notes so that you can go and have a look at that book, read more about it and buy a copy for yourself. And also, if you're in Melbourne, Australia in August, then check out the Belgrave Heights Convention, the Ideas Convention, Belgrave Heights Convention Centre. So that'll also be in the show notes for you. Stephen, it's been wonderful to have you on and I look forward to personally hearing you in August. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tina.
We're here to tell a story with a lasting